the Shang and Zhou dynasties is genuinely considered as the Bronze Age of China because bronze was used to fashion weapons, was part of chariots, and was part of ritual vessels, which played an important role in the material culture of the time. Shang Dynasty. Government. The Shang Dynasty was a theocratic monarchy in which the king served as both supreme authority and a divine intermediary who possessed the ability to speak to ancestors and the divine god Ti through oracle bones. By doing this, they prayed for issues to be resolved like succession or prayed for things such as weather or battles. The king had a hierarchy such as secretary of advisories, diviners, ceremonious specialists, and court scribes managed administrative tasks. The court had a dual governance system divided into the inner and outer region. The inner region, which was around the capital, was governed by the king, and the outer region, which was ruled by vassals of the artillery. The Zhou Dynasty. The Zhou Dynasty was built on federal systems, which the king, known as the Son of Heaven, delivered legitimacy through the mandate of heaven. A divine endorsement continued unambiguous rule. Governance operated via dual pillars. A century bureaucracy managed core royal domains, while regional lords, vassals, typically relative or trusted nobles granted hereditary fields, exercised substantial autonomy over their treacherous collective tribute, commanding armies and administrating local affairs. The bureaucracy evolved in sophistication over time, with intuitions overing land, military, public works, and rituals through the office comparable to Minister of Land, war and work alongside a secure burial, magnifying etiquettes, record-keeping, and ceremonies. Social hierarchy includes the nobles at the top, followed by the emerging Shi classes, educated retainers serving as administrators and the military officers, and commoners and slaves at the bottom. Social structure. Shang and Zhou dynasties had social structures. In the Shang dynasty, the kings ruled at the top. Noble people and warriors controlled the land and armies. Astrians made poetry, farmers, and the larger class grew foods and slaves. Mostly war captives worked at the bottom. The Zhou kept a king called the Son of Heaven, but added federal lords, scholars, and officials. Farmers stayed important. Merchants appeared as a new group of ranked low, and slaves remained at the bottom. Both dynasties placed kings at the top and slaves/peasants at the bottom, but the Zhou created a more complex system. Shang Dynasty. There were 5 main cities/capitals in the Shang Dynasty. The first Shang capital was Shang, also called Bo. It served as the ancestral capital, staying in the same place as temples, while the political capital moved many times where kings lived and ruled. Next is Zhengzhou, also called O, which rammed earth walls, palaces, and bronze foundries, making it a key political and economic center. Inside the rammed earth walls were palaces, temples, and workshops. Next is Hanbi, which replaced the Zhengzhou as a capital, or called Xiang. It's a huge palace in its walled area, and the palace has 25 individual buildings in it. Next is Zhaogang, a late capital before the dynasty's fall, was known for its palaces, ritual sites, and defensive structures. This city is tied to the defeat of the Shang dynasty to the Zhou dynasty. Shang King Zhou Dizhen, ruled from Shango. The last capital is called Anyang, also called Jingju. This was the final capital and had a palace precinct with ancestors' temples. It had royal graves filled with jade and ritual objects, and some even included complete 2 light-wheeled chariots. Zhou Dynasty. There were 1 main city and 2 main capitals of the Zhou Dynasty. The first one is Fenggao, or called Houjing. The Western Zhou had twin capitals, Fengjing for rituals and Hongjing for politics. They were the early Zhou power base until invasion in 771 BC forced an eastern shift. Next is Chengzhou, also called Luoyang, which becomes a capital after the fall of Hongjing in 771 BC. Founded by the Duke of Zhou, the city became the Eastern Zhou capital, 770 to 256 BC, serving as a political and cultural hub with palaces and forest stations and stayed important in the Han Dynasty. Last is Wangchang, which was built 15 kilometers west of Chengzhou, was the royal residence of the Eastern Zhou. Kings used mainly in the early Eastern Zhou, functioned alongside Shangzhou in the capital system. Shang Dynasty. The major battles in the Shang Dynasty was the Battle of Mui, which only lasted for a day. King Wen always talked about the overthrowing of the Shang Dynasty, but never went through with the plan until his son Wu was made king and decided to fulfill his father's wishes. Once King Dizeng was found out about the capture of the Dongyi tribe, and they were too far out to be sent back just to the fight of the Zhou Dynasty. King Dijin made a new army with the peasants, slaves, farmers, and prisoners. The people felt resentful and they didn't want to fight for him, nor liked how they were being treated. They even thought about switching sides and joining the Zhou. King Ding treated his people very poorly by charging his people high taxes and spent the money for himself. Later on the battlefield, the people did indeed switch on to the Zhou. Zhou Dynasty. The Zhou Dynasty was split into many smaller states, with the larger states themselves threatened with a division. Each of these smaller states had armies and threatened to conquer their neighbors, and each state had a more secretive army of spies that threatened assassination every turn, which later led to the fall of the Zhou Dynasty. Over a period of hundreds of years, as the federal ruler of outlying province gained more authority, the state even acquired more power than the king himself, beginning the Warring Period. The Warring Period comprised the final centuries of the Zhou Dynasty, which were characterized by warfare, military reform, and political consolidation. Shortly after, King Zhao of the Qin Dynasty defeated King Nan and conquered West Zhou in 256 BC. Then his grandson, King Zhao conquered the east of Zhou, ending the Zhou Dynasty. The Shang Dynasty settled in the fertile Yellow River Valley, known as the cradle of Chinese civilization. The rich, loessy soil made farming ideal, supporting an agricultural society that laid the foundations for later Chinese civilizations. The Shang had few natural defenses. Flat plains to the north and the south, and small plateaus to the west made invasion easy, while the Yellow Sea to the east offered some protection. As a result, the Shang often faced rallies from nomadic groups, shaping their society and military practices. The Yellow River Valley's fertile land and strategic location were key to the Shang's growth, despite their vulnerability and invasions. The Zhou Dynasty began in the Hui River Valley and the Yellow River Plain, with its early capital near modern-day Xi'an. Later, the capital moved to Liaoyang in Han Province. During the Western Zhou period, it land expanded from the Wei Valley to the Shandong Peninsula, and its Yangtze Valley, a large territory shaped by mountains and rivers, made rule difficult, so a feudal system was created to govern effectively. Technology. The main technology that the Shang Dynasty used in ancient China was bronze casting. This is a process of pouring molten bronze into a hollow mold to create a positive bronze sculpture or object. They used this for creating ceramic tools, swords, and spearheads for the military. The military was able to expand the kingdom's borders significantly due to the discovery. The invention of writing also played a big role in the dynasty as well, contributed to the centralization of governance in China, and laid the foundation for other dynasties as well as other cultures. Zhou Dynasty. During the Zhou Dynasty, for the most part, their tools were made out of wood, stone, bone, or shell. However, the use of bronze tools became more widespread. Lacquer was used to color and enhance figurines, furniture, decorative objects, musical instruments, and even use of on coffins. Later on, they advanced again from bronze to iron working, improving tools and weapons for wars. Example of this was crossbow with iron-tipped arrows. This provided a tactical advantage in warfare. Some other inventions are the following: agricultural innovations, large-scale networks, and infrastructure improvement. In the Shang Dynasty, art centered on religion. Bronze vessels with Tao monster designs were used in rituals. Jade carvings symbolized purity on statues. Oracle bones combined art with writing divided, and poetry featured geometric and animal designs. The zoo continued bronze and jade work, but with simpler styles and inscriptions. They introduced ritual music with bronze bells and chime stones, and developed pottery and lacquerware, often influenced by nomadic cultures. Zoo art shifted focus towards governance and the mandate of heaven. Shang art emphasized ancestors' worship, while Zhou art showed political authority and social order, showing how culture evolved alongside power. Writing systems. The Shang people are credited with creating the earliest known form of Chinese writing, known as oracle bone scripture or Jingzhuang, inscribed into the turtle, plastons, and ox sculptures, often using a stylus. Shang writers appears in two primary contexts, on oracle bones and on bronze ritual vessels. Character shapes in Jingwen, including pictographs, abstract interactives, such as markers for above, below, or numbers, ideographs formed by combining elements, examples, 2 trees signifying grove, 3 trees, forests, and later photonic somatic compounds, where a radical denotes meaning, the other part hints at pronunciation, laid a foundation for later Chinese writing systems. Religion. The Shang dynasty believed that their gods and spirits controlled the world, while their ancestors had great power in the afterlife. They believed that the king was the mediator and could talk to the god of the universe, Shang Di, and their ancestors. They also believed in afterlife. Rulers of the Shang were buried with jade because it's said to give immortality. The Shangs used religion a lot. It was used in their daily life. The Zhou dynasty. The Zhou dynasty believed in Shang Dai, the god of the universe, ancestors, venturing, and divination, but later replaced Shang Dai with the heaven, seen as a moral face that rewarded or punished rulers. Kings, called the Son of Heaven, upheld order through carefully structured rites honoring heaven, earth, ancestors, and local deities. Sacrifices included food, animals, and even humans, meant to secure cosmic balance, political legitimacy, and harmony between the ruler and the realm. So that wraps up our project on the Shang and Zhou dynasties. I hope you learned something. They brought us things like oracle bones, ancestral worship, and the mandate of heaven. This was a huge project for us and took a lot of time. I hope you enjoyed and learned something from this video. Thanks for watching!